All right, well, congratulations first on this third straight title. I know it must mean a lot to you guys.
Absolutely, it does, Paul. Before this year, no team in the NEC had ever won three straight championships. So for us to come in and make history to claim something that is now our own that hasn't been done before feels pretty good.
And talking about the third straight championship, in what ways? Because we all know that you had so many trials and tribulations to go through throughout the season. In what ways does this mean so much more than just a third championship?
Well, this is a redemption of sorts in a way because, as you mentioned, some of our players got suspended earlier in the year. Julian Boyd was injured in the middle of the season. For us to come this far after starting out to where it didn't look like it was easily reachable shows that we've come a long way, and hopefully we can keep it going in the NCAA tournament.
All right, so going back to the game now, it was a very tightly played first half. What were your adjustments and your game plans coming into the second half?
Well, Mount takes a lot of three-point shots, so we wanted to make sure that we guarded the line a little more in the second half because they'll come at you. They will burn you from outside if you give them the opportunity. They'll kill you from outside. So we wanted to make sure we were guarding the three-point line, getting out in transition, making it harder for them to come back on defense and get back at us, and that's what helped us out in the second half.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the studio. Obviously, this championship means so much, but in what ways does it mean more than just a third straight championship?
It's more of a redemption for us, after what happened earlier in the year. Some of our players getting suspended, Julian Boyd injured, and for us to lose our first three games in the conference and to come this far, having to worry about whether or not we would get this game at home and then having to put away a Mount St. Mary's team that's hard to beat. They'll burn you from outside if you give them the opportunity. They like to take a lot of three-point shots, and when they're firing, they're really hard to beat. So for us to win the way we did and come out and play the way we did says a lot about us as a team, and I think this was a pretty redeeming victory for us.
All right, and what was your game plan heading into that second half, knowing that the first half was so tightly played? It seemed that you guys were able to pull away in the second half. What were you doing?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we guarded the three-point line a little more and got out in transition. This way we could make it harder on them to adjust defensively and fall back against us, because when we get out in transition, we like to get on runs and run up and down, really stress the defense out, and for us to do that as easy as we did really says a lot about how we played and how we turned it up in the second half.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, first of all, your team won a great championship. What did you find spectacular about your team tonight?
Basically, our ability to handle adversity and to come out against a Mount team that came in hot. They shoot a lot of threes. They'll kill you from outside if you give them the opportunity. We wanted to make sure that we were on point defensively and on our game. And for us to adjust the way we did, put them away a little more in the second half, and save a little more for when we needed it most, that really helped us out.
C.J. Garner was named the MVP in this game. What did you find spectacular about him tonight?
Oh, C.J. was huge, especially since Julian Boyd went down earlier in the year. He just stepped up and became our go-to guy in the backcourt with Jamal up front, and the two of them really helped us out. But C.J. in particular, he came alive down the stretch, made this postseason his own, and there's a reason why he was as good as he was. He just made his own opportunities, and for him to have come this far, we couldn't have done it without him.
Even though your team has won the championship, do you think there's anything that you guys can improve on next season?
Absolutely. We still have a lot of work to do. Sometimes our defense wasn't up to par, and our offense still needs to click on all cylinders sometimes. We have most of the team coming back next year as well. We're losing a couple of seniors, so that's going to be hard to replace, but hopefully we'll be able to pick up where we left off.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Coach. Back to you guys in the studio. What did you find spectacular about your team tonight?
The way we came out defensively, especially in the second half, after Mount really put it to us in the first half, they're a hard team to beat, especially when they make a lot of three-point shots. That's their game. They like to burn you from outside. So we wanted to make sure we guarded the three-point line, got out in transition, made it harder on them to adjust defensively to match our style. And once we did that, when we did what we needed to do and did it as easy as we did, that made it easier for us, and it made them hard to adjust. So for us to come out and play the way we did really says a lot about tonight.
CJ Garner was named the MVP in tonight's championship game. What did you find spectacular about his performance tonight?
Yeah, CJ's been huge. The way he's been able to just find his own scoring opportunities and just be an explosive player through the whole season really set the tone for us, especially after Julian went down and Jamal needed someone to feed him up front. For CJ to come out and have the postseason that he did, he came alive these last couple of games, really took matters into his own hands. To have a scorer like that with his own identity really gives us our own as a team.
All right, even though you guys just won the championship, do you think there's anything that your team can improve on for next season?
Absolutely. We have 3 seniors that are not going to be with us next year, so we're going to have to replace them, and they're not very easy to replace either. Our guys are really going to have to step up, and we're going to have to recruit as well. So hopefully our team next year will be just as strong as the one we had this season. Hopefully we'll be able to make it 4 for 4.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you in the studio.
Now that you have won the title, 91 to 70, do you think next year, if you make it to the playoffs, which we all hope you will, do you think you'll win?
Well, it's a little hard to say right now. We still have a lot of seniors to replace next year. Some guys coming back that will have a little more to do offensively. Well, we're just worried about the NCAA tournament coming up right now. Still got more to play this season than we'll worry about next year.
Do you think you'll do well in the NCAA tournament?
Well, it all depends on who we play. That hasn't been announced yet, but we'll keep an eye on that. Our assistant coaches will break down. Our scout team will make sure we're ready to play, and we'll be able to withstand anything they throw at us.
Okay. If every team made it to the playoffs, do you think you can win or at least come in second place?
Oh, I don't know. Anybody can win on any given night. You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes a team that wins 8 games will come up on you and play their best game of the year and score 90 points on you, so you never know.
And if you could choose one player to manage the team if you're sick or you can't make it, who would you choose?
That's hard to say because everybody contributes to the team in their own special way. I really can't pick one player above anyone else because our team, the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, so it's really hard to tell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that you have won the game 91 to 70, do you think you'll make it to the playoffs?
Next year's still hard to say. We still have another game to play in the NCAA tournament. We're still waiting to see what happens with that, but next year we're going to have to replace a couple of seniors. Our guys that are on the bench right now are going to have to step up and give us some greater productivity. So hopefully we'll be able to not miss a beat going into next season.
Well, do you think it will be hard to find some new players to fill in the spots of those seniors?
Well, you never know. Our guys that we still have coming back are going to have to do a little more. We're going to have to recruit a little harder and try to get guys to fit our system. Hopefully we'll be able to do that.
If every team made it to the playoffs, do you think you guys will win?
Well, you never know. Any team can win on any given night. You can be facing a team that won 5 games all year, and then they can score 80, 90 points on you, and we might have an off night. So you really don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes some other team has something more to play for, and they can really put the fight on you.
If you could choose one player to manage the team if you're sick or something else happened, who would you choose?
That's really hard to say because everyone on our team contributes in their own special way. The sum of our team as a whole is greater than the parts. I really can't say that one player will be better than the others, so it's really hard for me to say.
Okay, thank you. Now back to you in the studio.
Well, Coach, now you guys are the champions now. What was going through your mind as the clock was winding down to 0?
Well, it was a feeling of redemption for us to have come this far after what happened earlier in the season with some of our guys getting suspended and Julian tearing his ACL. for us to have come this far and really work a little harder for it than we did the last 2 years to win our third championship, to make history, because no other school in the NEC has done that. It was a feeling of redemption. It was a feeling of pride. I turned to my assistant coaches on the bench and said, look at how far we've come. Look at what else we've built and what we've added on to.
How was your team able to overcome all the adversity that you guys have faced, not knowing what type of plans to put together like that?
Well, you know what? We just focused on improving a little bit more each day. What can we do each day to make ourselves a little bit better, to make ourselves stand out against some of the other teams in the conference? Because we know our competition a little more now. We're playing a little more often. We know what to expect from each team. We just wanted to improve on each game, one game at a time. And fortunately for us, it paid off a little more.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Coach, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times throughout this postseason run. What has been key for your success today's game and the previous games?
We just keep doing what we have to do, and we get better each night. That's all we're focusing on. What can we do every day to make ourselves a little better? What can we do to make ourselves stand out from the pack? And our guys just executed our game plan. We made sure we were working. We were on all cylinders. We fired. We came out. We didn't miss a beat.
What was, in your opinion, the most important thing you've had to cover during practices and morning shoot-arounds leading up to this game, and like in the past couple postseason games?
Well, we wanted to make sure we guarded the three-point line, because that's what Mount does. They take a lot of three-point shots. They want to beat you from outside. So we wanted to make sure we guarded the line. We came at them, and we got out in transition, because when we get out in transition and we were on the floor, it makes it harder for our opposition to get back at us defensively. So we wanted to make sure we were getting easy baskets, and then we were coming back on the other side of the ball to make it harder on our opponents.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. How does the 90 to 71 win affect team morale going into the NCAA tournament?
Well, it definitely gives us a little more momentum and a little more to play for going into the NCAA tournament. We still don't know who we're going to play. We'll let the chips fall where they may. Hopefully our assistant coaches and our scout team will make sure we're ready for whatever they throw at us. Right now, we'll enjoy this. We'll take a day off, get back to practice on Thursday, and see what the future holds.
How do you think Gardner's 31-point game helped you win that game?
C.J. Garner was huge. He really took matters into his own hands, scoring the ball for us over the last couple of games. And when you have a guy like C.J. who is an explosive scorer and he creates his own opportunities, that's what makes him so special. For him to do that and for him to find our guys inside, take the open shots whenever he had to, whenever he felt he was open, that really set him apart. We couldn't have done it without him.
How do you think Jamal Olisworth's 15 points, 10 rebounds affected the game?
Jamal's just a beast inside. When he gets in the paint, he will not be denied. He's going to take every opportunity he gets. You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. And when you have a guy like that inside that has an attitude like that, he takes no prisoners, that just makes the whole team hungry. It makes everyone around him better.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you in the studios. Thanks, guys. Coach, how does it feel to win your first season as a head coach, to win the NAC championship?
It's a feeling of redemption after 2 years as the associate head coach. You really don't know how much more different the game is until you move one chair over on the bench. It was a lot more work for me, but our guys made it easier on me personally. Couldn't have done it without them. I can't be more proud of my team right now.
How do you think C.J. Gardner's 31 points helped your team win the game?
Oh, CJ was huge. When you have a scorer like that who takes matters into his own hands when he scores the ball, and he creates his own opportunities, that's what makes him so special, that he'll take open shots when he has to, and when he sees that he has to give the ball up, he'll do that. He'll find Jamal. He'll find Brandon Thompson. He'll find one of our guys. And for him to take matters into his own hands and recognize that this game was his for the taking made us a little more formidable down the stretch.
How does the 90 to 71 victory affect team morale going into the NCAA tournament?
It gives us something more to play for. We have a lot more momentum now on our side, which is good in a game like this because now it's win or go home. You don't know who the other team's going to be yet. We're still waiting to find out what happens. We'll see what the future holds, and we'll make sure we're ready for everything they throw at us.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
So, Coach, after winning 3 titles in a row, the word dynasty has been thrown around. Would you consider your team as a dynasty, and why?
Well, that's hard to tell. No other team in the NEC had won 3 titles, and now we're the first one. So I guess we can state that claim as one of our own. But the way I see it, we still got a little bit more work to do. We got the NCAA tournament coming up. We haven't been able to win our first 2 games there the last couple of years. So hopefully we can add on to that. And then we still have most of our team coming back next year. There's a lot more work to be done.
Well, you said about how you haven't won an NCAA tournament game. Well, what changes will be made to make sure that you could win one?
Oh, we're going to make sure we're ready for whoever we play and whatever they're ready to throw at us. We had 2 tough matchups 2 years in a row, one against North Carolina, but we were in the game in the first half. We hung in there, and then they were just more experienced than we were, and that's how they put us away. And the same thing happened last year with Michigan State. They were just far more experienced than we were. No disrespect to our guys, but they took advantage of that, and they were able to withstand us.
Yeah. And when Julian went down with the ACL tear in December, I believe it was, what motivation did that put to the team?
Well, we didn't know if Julian would be able to come back because he was a senior, and we didn't know if he would get another year of eligibility. So we wanted to win one for him. We felt like we had something to play for. We had somebody to play for, and we didn't want to let him down.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
I'm standing here with the LIU Brooklyn coach who've just won their 3rd NEC championship. Now, Coach, the word dynasty has been thrown around because no other team's won 3 in a row. Do you think you could compare yourself to some of the greats as a dynasty?
Well, you know what? That's hard to say. We still have a lot more work to be done. We still have an NCAA tournament game to play. We haven't won any of those yet. We've been there the last 2 years and came up short both times. And next year we're going to have a lot more work to do with some of our seniors graduating and having to replace our guys. I don't know if I'd throw around dynasty just yet. We are the first team to win 3 NEC championships, so we take a lot of pride in that, but there's still a lot more work to be done.
You said there's a lot more work to be done. You came up short. Do you think with the 21-point victory you have, you could use some of that morale to get in a win in the NCAA tournament?
I would think so. We have a lot more momentum on our side, but it depends on who we get in the tournament. It's the luck of the draw in the bracket. You don't know who you're going to get until Selection Sunday. And our 2 games, we were in the game both times, but the teams we played, former national championship teams, North Carolina, Michigan State, they were just more experienced than we were. No knock on our guys, but they were far more experienced. They took advantage of that, and that's how they put us away down the stretch.
And when Julian went down with the tear in the ACL, do you think that gave your guys some extra motivation to push it to get another championship?
Oh, no question. Julian was huge. He was our rock inside up front. We wanted to have something to play for. We wanted to win it for him, and that's how Jamal stepped up. CJ Garner stepped up. Our guys wanted to win one for him because we didn't know if he would be back. Since he's a senior, he may not get another year of eligibility, so we wanted to make sure we won this one for him.
Well, how did CJ and the rest of them step up in a way?
C.J. Garner took matters into his own hands this postseason. He came alive scoring the ball, and what makes him so special is he creates his own opportunities. He takes his own shots when he has to, and when he sees that he has to give the ball up, he'll find Jamal, he'll find Brandon Thompson, he'll find Kenny inside, he'll do whatever he has to do to win us the game, and that's what he did tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.